Good day everyone. Today we're going to talk about social literacy for this video. This will be our final requirement in subject building and enhancing literacy across the curriculum. So we have 5 members for this group. Social literacy will be discussed by me, Angel Rodriguez. The 8 fundamentals principle of relating well to others will be discussed by Mr. Dion Ban. The role of parents and teachers in teaching social literacy to children will be discussed by Miss Tennessee Keck, and the issues in teaching social literacy will be discussed by Miss J.C. Rain Carrion. And last, social skills in the modern age, according to Blake 2017, will be discussed by Wilma Suarez. To start my part, we're going to talk about, again, social literacy. When we talk about social literacy, it implies learning about the give and take interacting with others. So it has something to do with social skills, communication skills, and language skills because how can you communicate without language? That's why language skills is present in the meaning of defining social literacy. So social literacy spans with the interaction with peers, with friends, with family, with parents, so anyone, as long as you are interacting with others. So again, yeah. To start my part, yeah. Social literacy concerns itself again with the development of social skills, knowledge, and positive human values that enable human beings to act positively and responsibly in a range of complex social settings. So, in defining social literacy, social skills are part of it because no one can be socially literate if he or she doesn't have social skills. So, in addition, knowledge and positive human values are also part of it of the social literacy because when we communicate, when we connect, when we interact with other people, the respect should be there. The respect of the values of the person you are talking should be there no matter how complex the situation is. Automatically, then we can say that automatically you have the knowledge of positive human values because you cannot respect something that you are not aware of. So a person who is social literate knows how to behave and treat other people not the way you wanted it, but the way that is morally upright, just, and equitable. Yan. And equitable. So this three will be explained further later. So social literature knows how to literacy knows how to control in order to act positively despite the situation because part of being socially literate is promoting positive and productive relationships that are free from prejudice, hate, and discrimination. So, as I said earlier, these three will be discussed. When we say morally upright, this is about the thoughts, speech, actions, and motivation that adhere to standard of right and wrong. So, based on the definition, morally upright has something to do with right and wrong. So, it is aligning your thoughts, speech, actions, and motivations to the standard of right or wrong. It is knowing that these thoughts, that these actions, this speech, and motivation are right or wrong. So next one is just. Just are the speech, actions, and behavior that are in line with a fixed standard of justice. So it is behaving accordingly with a fixed standard of justice. So whether whatever your speech, your actions, and behavior, so you are aligning them to the fixed standard because if you do not conform to that fixed standard, then there will be a punishment because as written here, justice is a system that promotes and rewards good and at the same time punishes wrongdoings. So last, equitable. Yan. Equitable are the speech, actions, behaviors, and decisions that treat others fairly, not to be confused with equality, which connotes fixed standard of treatment for all. So, note, so written here that we have to remember that equitable is not the same as equality because in equality, it is a fixed standard of treatment for all people. So a simple explanation to differentiate these two concepts. Equality is giving everyone the same pair of shoes, while equity is giving everyone a pair of shoes that fit to them. That's why it is written here at at the latter part that equity seeks the good of others where everyone gets what they need rather than simply everyone gets the same thing in the same amount. Because in equality, I mean, rather, in equity, it recognizes that each person has different needs. They have different circumstances, that's why they have different needs. So equality means each individual or group of people is given the same sources or opportunity. Next slide. So according to Arthur Davidson and Stowe 2000, in developing social literacy, peers and school play a formative role because this is where the child spend most of their time together with their peers and their classmates. This is where they develop their social skills because they have people around them. They interact with people around them aside from their families, which when they are at home. So these social skills are often expressed as consisting of three interrelated components, that is social perception, social cognition, and social performance. That's the three. Yeah. Another definition yan. Social skills is defined in literature as the ability to interact with others in a given social context in a specific way that is socially acceptable or valued and at the same time personally beneficial, mutually beneficial, and primarily beneficial to others. So the point in here is that when you are interacting with others, no, you're not the only one who who will benefit from it. The other side will be, or the other person you are talking to will also benefit from the interaction. So, so we have different types of social skills. So these are the several types of social skills that must be mastered for a child to be socially adept. When socially adept means that the child is very skilled and expert in interacting with others. So this range from the ability to initiate, ability to begin the conversation and proceed to being able to maintain the conversation and of course being able to end the conversation in the right way. So it is important that the child also knows how to read social signals or what we call social cues, no? Because these are very important in a conversation and to more complex skills such as solving problems and resolving conflict because these are often part of the social interaction simply because we are very diverse and each and every one of us has different opinions and perceptions. That's why it's natural that there are conflict and problems. Yeah. Written in here that children with social skills deficit. So social skills deficit is the opposite of socially adept child. It means that the child is lacking social skills. That's why parents, teachers, or professionals can teach these skills to the children so that they can be socially adept. So this ability will be discussed further by the next reporter. Ayan, but they can use these strategies of modeling, role playing, and rehearsal and practice. Again, these skills will be explained and elaborated by Mr. Dionic Ban, who will be the next reporter.
The second part of our video, we have the 8 fundamental principles of relating well to others. For the first one, we have the greeting. The first step in social interaction is greeting someone. Simple greeting can develop a children's relation with its peers. Like for a interaction that we practice at anyone, we evaluate the greeting. A simple hi, hello can start a good conversation that will start and continue the 8 principles that needed to be accomplished by the child. For the second one, we have initiating the conversation. In initiating a conversation, a children must also consider his, her listening and attention skills, as well as the ability to probe missing information. A good conversation is only possible when a child knows how to be a good conversationalist. We need to initiate a good conversation, and being in a conversation doesn't need to be that you're the only one speaking or you're the only one listening. You need to be well adapt on the conversation in a way that you understand understand the other side, listens to the what they're talking about, and share your information well. And especially when it comes to some informations that were given by the speaker or the one that is speaking to you, it will be a good part of a listener to know what are the missing informations and to be brought up in the conversation to make it more effective and interesting. For the third one, we have understanding the listener. Once a conversation is initiated, it has to be maintained. Socially adept child knows how to value their audience in order to make the conversation maintained and understand the listener on how they understand what you were saying. It's like what I've said, the second part of the eight principles. Being a good listener or a part of a conversation is you need to understand who you were talking to or who are you listening at. For the fourth one, we have empathizing. Empathy is the simple idea of understanding what the other person feels. It's allow a child to really connect with the person they are empathizing with. Knowing what your person that you're talking to, knowing what they're going through, you'll understand and be much more a effective part of the conversation in a way that you'll be able to know and understand what they are really talking about or what they are really going into. For the fifth one, we have reading social cues or signals. Cues are simply the key to understand and know what is the next thing to say. They can be verbal or nonverbal in a way that if we pay attention on them, will be effective on what we were saying. Example, you are a spokesperson trying to speak to an audience. Knowing and seeing your audience being not interested in a way that they act differently that you can assess them, then you'll be able to read those signals or cues to somehow change your way of speaking to them to make them much more into what you are trying to say to them. For the sixth one, we have previewing or planning. Even a conversation needs a previewing and thinking about the possible outcomes to make our time speaking very effective for the listeners. Before a certain time that you are needed to speak on somebody or in a front of a crowd, you need to preview or what we call nowadays overthink or think about what are the possible things that could happen when you are in front. So you'll be ready on possible problems, outcomes that you weren't expecting or just unpredictable to happen because you have already thought of what to do on some things that could happen. For the seventh, we have problem solving. Problems are a big part of a social interaction in a way that not all may agree on what you were saying. There comes the way of how we will react on those reactions. Having a good set of problem solving skills make you understand and know what and how to react on those negative scenarios on responses. Some responses of some scenarios on a certain conversation can be sometimes have a part where your listeners tend to ask something and you need to be ready about that because problems that were sometimes brought up or being asked by your listeners are good things to be remembered by you because it can be a key part on making your speech or making your time talking to them much more effective. And for the last one, we have apologizing. Every speaker can and will commit mistakes in a way that apologizing for that error can be the easiest way to respond on that social blunder. Of course, we are not all born perfect in a way that if you did or said something wrong while speaking to someone or in the front of a crowd, you'll be able to apologize because apologizing on every mistake and accepting the fact that you have said something wrong or a information that misleading on the part of what you were saying, you can apologize for it, and sometimes you can even use it as an interaction with the listeners in a way that you'll get what you'll get uh, ideas and solutions that can be brought up by them to make the conversation much more effective in a way that Your conversation will be fruitful and both you and the listener have learned something. These eight fundamental principles of relating well to others are used by children with social skills. The visits can be taught these skills directly by parents, teachers, and of professionals using the strategies of model rehearsals and practice. That will be my.
So I am the next reporter. I will tackle the roles of parents and teachers in teaching social skills to children. So the role of parents. Parents typically play the major role in teaching children social skills. Parents can directly teach social skills by modeling, role-playing, and providing opportunities for their child to rehearse and practice new skills. They should encourage and praise the child for every successfully using a new skill. Professionals typically intervene only when children are having substantial social difficulty with peers. These individuals can improve their structured, guided, and effective programs that often involve group within the peers. So in here, the parents play a major role to their children because they are the one who will teach social skills to them. So our parents are the ones we spend time with at home every day, and because of them, we learn how to interact with others. Parents should praise their child, even though it is a small achievement. We should praise them and encourage them all the time. And as a parent, you should also band together with your children. For example, playing games together so that they can develop their social skills. However, it says here that if the child suffer substantial social difficulty with peers, it says here that this professional will help them often involved in a group work by implementing a program to improve their social skills. So next, the role of teachers. So school is the place where the children spend the majority of their time with peers. It is therefore a natural and perfect setting for children to learn and practice social skills. So teachers do not have to teach a class in social skills. They can take advantage of every opportunity to the children improve their social skills. They should be alert to teasing and bullying and aware of children that reject or ignored by the peers. So in here, children spend their majority of time in their school. That's why they improve their social skills on how to socialize with other people. If they don't socialize, it will be difficult for them to get along with others. Teachers will not teach the social skills in class, so that and teachers should be aware that what happening to his or her students' surroundings, such as teasing and bullying, which is not good to them. Therefore, teachers should help the children to improve their social skills. So, in conclusion, teachers can take responsibility by imparting their knowledge to their students, while the parents can take responsibility by nurturing the students' morals and socialize with other people. That's all my part.
Hello, I am Jason Carion to report about the issues in teaching social literacy. Earlier, we have learned about the social literacy, the introduction by Ms. Rodriguez and Mr. Ikban shared with us how we can be socially literate through the basic part, such as saying the greeting and so. And Ms. Geg also said her part in the roles of parents in teaching social literacy. For now, we will be learning about the issues in teaching social literacy because, of course, there would be challenges in whatever we do. And social literacy is not something that has a linear. That's why we have issues in teaching. So, social literacy is intrinsically a contextual matter, and it is not something that can easily be traced in a linear or developmental fashion. The acquisition of social literacy is a complex process that is historically, culturally, that conditions and is context specific. So children learn through social practices, both explicit and implicit. So when we say explicit, these are the things that stated clearly and is detailed. But when we say implicit, these are understood from something else. So without a direct word from it, it can be easily understood. We'll now go on and proceed. There are two distinct ways on how children live socially. And when we say two ways, of course, we should answer the question on how children learn to live socially with each other and with the adults. So here are the two of them: normative and communal, and pragmatic and individualistic. Let us learn the terms. When we say normative, these are the standard laws. So there is already a list of obligations that they should be doing, it's like a rules and regulation. And then communal, it is the roles shared by a group. So it doesn't have to be spoken, but rather it is the environment that they can feel and how should they act. And then when we say pragmatic, these are the practical affairs. And when we say individualistic, it means self-reliance. Move on. First, when we say normative and communal, children learn customs that provide them with a guide to act in ways to minimize conflict. And when we say that, by Arthur Davidson and Stow, it is the way that they would interact with one another that is minimizing problems and having conflicts or argument with one another. It means they find a way on how to agree with another person. Because by this means, they would minimize the conflict with their peers. And when we say pragmatic and individualistic, this is the social order of children. The social order of children is created by explicit, once again, just as what I have explained earlier, and implicit agreements, entered into by self-seeking individuals to avert the worst consequences of their selfish instincts. So when we say this too, there is some kind of agreement that is given to this pragmatic and individualistic approach in social learning, social literacy learning. Now, when we say the issues, we should also consider these two factors because teaching social literacy in schools is not as easy as it appears to be due to the subjective standards of morality. Because morality is not something we can measure, and it is something that is individual. We all have different opinions when it comes to morality and inherent human capacity to judge and make excuses. So in this last view, the social order is dependent on sanctions and formal agreements. Rules are obeyed because they confer personal advantage on a child. In the normative view, children are persuaded of the moral force of acting socially to their voluntary associations with others. And let us go to the subjective standard of morality. So the truth or the natural outcome of postmodern philosophies is that truth and morality are considered subjective and open to individual interpretation. So one may say that this is my morality, this is the right thing for me to do, while the other may beg to differ because they have different opinions when it comes to morality. And when it comes to human nature, while we would all like to believe that people are inherently good, experience has taught us that the goodness of humanity is at best unreliable. So we cannot say that once we see a person being good, it doesn't mean that in all his life he will not make bad decisions or he will not make an error. But we must understand because right now we are learning about social literacy. So we must understand the human nature as well. That as much as we want to be in good terms with all people, we must understand that to err is human. And human nature will make us flawed, and it is the natural thing for us to do. Because after all, we're just human. So that is about the issues of social literacy and teaching it in schools. Thank you so much.
So I am Wilmarie Suarez, and for today I will talk about the helpful reminders of late 2017 in terms of social skill in modern age. So today, students have grown up with an internet that they have become inseparable from their gadgets. Late 2017 offers helpful reminders to young professionals in terms of social skills in the modern age. This situation underscores the importance of educating students in what could be called social literacy to ensure their academic and career success. So number one is situational awareness in the workplace. While casual office attire have become the norm, in many offices, job interviews typically require more formal dress and behavior to demonstrate a level of respect. Stories prevail of young adults showing up to interviews in casual clothing, texting, or using phones during job interviews or events, bringing their parents with them. Such behavior demonstrates a lack of situational awareness about what is appropriate to do in different social circumstances. So in here, we should think carefully about what we should wear in our workplace. For example, if you are working in office, you should wear formal attire. Another example is if you are a teacher, you should wear your proper uniform, or you should not wear revealing dress because you are a role model for your students. Number two is social intelligence in technological communication. Texting and technology use have affected many young people's ability to communicate, while email has formalized much of the communication process. Students still need to ensure their writing denotes respect and provides enough context for professors or future to readily respond. So in here, we must know how to write properly an email with respect using technology. In addition, while writing an email, we must also consider the proper grammar, punctuation, and salutation. And for the last, social intelligence in traditional communication. While email has taken over as the primary method of communication, traditional modes of discourse still exist. For example, many employers still expect cover letters in addition to resumes, and the lack of thank you note for a gift is often perceived as more than a simple social oversight. So we all know that we always use email as an important form of communication with others. But we must still know how to write a cover letter, a resume, and thank you card because many employers still expect for this. And that will be all. Thank you for listening.